Welcome to another edition of Facebook Live. If you missed the On the Money show yesterday, we talked about the 2017 forecast, of which, I said I was skeptically optimistic. I mean, everybody's so full with the Trump enthusiasm right now, and let's face it, he's promised a lot of big things. Tax reform, he's talking about lowering taxes not only on individuals, reducing the brackets and lowering taxes for just about everybody, but also corporate tax reform, lowering the corporate tax rate from 35 down to about 10 or 15%, and also bringing all the repatriated money back from offshore. I mean, huge things. We talked about energy, reducing some of the regulatory environment concerning energy. He's talked about some economic stimulus, rebuilding infrastructure, trade. People are a little worried about trade at this point with the protectionism we're talking about, banking, talking about reducing the regulation on the banking, overturning the Dodd-Frank Act. A lot of big things in the works. The Federal Reserve, he's going to appoint 2 appointees to the Federal Reserve. They're talking about raising rates. So there's a lot of good things and again, this is a reason for the optimism and why the market has responded to all the optimism out there. They said new business at this point is more optimistic than they've ever been in the last 5 to 10 years. So what could go wrong? I mean, everything's good, right? But tax cuts are almost 100% certain, although the beneficiaries are not certain at all. All tax bills have to originate in the House, and their impact on the deficit will be important to some House Republicans. It's okay to pass a tax cut, but you have to have a corresponding set of spending cuts ready. Seriously, we have no idea how the tax issue is going to play out. Fixing taxes could be problematic. Every dollar the government now spends or gives in tax benefits helps somebody, and whoever it is almost certainly will have a lobbyist on retainer. The hard thing, I think, is getting agreement on the big items like taxes and healthcare reform. You see Trump and Pence and McConnell all holding hands, but the bottom line is they have to get things passed. And the reform effort could fall apart for a lot of reasons. The Senate majority is pretty narrow. In fact, it's narrow enough that if you have a handful of GOP defectors, it's going to stop the bills, assuming Democrats stay in unison. And there's also a chance that some bolt from the blue could change anything. An international crisis. We see what's happening today just with the immigration and all the protests that are going on around the country. I mean, it kind of cracks me up because Donald Trump is not doing anything that he didn't say he was going to do. He said he's going to protect our borders, and that's what's happening. But we could have an international crisis, a large bank failure, a terror attack. Any one of a long list of unforeseeable events could conceivably derail the Trump train, not to mention the problems in Europe and China. If we get through the first 100 days of the administration, I think the agenda will have enough momentum to continue to roll. But again, the Republicans can't get all timid and can't cooperate. If they end up settling for the usual, tinkering around the edges with tax reform and healthcare reform, or if they're stymied by the bureaucracy that doesn't want to see any of the regulations dismembered, then we can't expect to get the economic boost that everyone is anticipating. If the policy-driven boost doesn't materialize, the stock market, which has really jumped on the anticipation of real change, will probably reverse itself just as quickly. So there's a lot of optimism out there, but there's a lot of things that could go wrong. That's why I say proceed with caution. This is another edition of Facebook Live.